Hi, I'm Barry Gordon.
And I'm Andre Coleman.
And this is NewsRap Live at 5. Well, you should have been here for the last 20 minutes.
We just did the whole show.
We did. Dre and I were just having this deep philosophical, political discussion going back to the 80s. It was very interesting. But we are here to talk about what happened this week, some interesting things. No major breaking story today.
Probably the first time since we've been doing the show when there's nothing really breaking.
I think so, although there was some news as we walked in, which we'll talk about a little later. But I think we're going to kick it off with our little wonderful brief that we do about what happened locally in Pasadena and what's going on with some of the other major stories before we start wrapping. So,
a couple of these I want to talk about after we do them, too. So let's break this out right now.
Let's do it now.
The Grand Marshal for the 2019 Tournament of Roses Parade, presented by Honda, is Chaka Khan.
Chaka Khan, Chaka Khan. That's right, Pasadena Rose Parade is around the corner, and this year's Grand Marshal will be the 10-time Grammy winner, Chaka Khan. The announcement was made Tuesday by Tournament of Roses President Gerald Freeney, who said that her selection goes hand in hand with the theme of the 2019 Rose Parade, the Melody of Life. Chaka Khan will be performing at the opening of the parade on New Year's Day. Early voting has already begun for the November 6th elections. For a deeper discussion on the ballot measures and the candidates, get your pencils and paper ready and watch the special one-hour edition of NewsRap Friday, November 2nd. Post your questions, picks, and predictions in the comments ahead of the show and tune in to join the conversation. Election voter information is available at lavote.net/VRstatus. Turkish authorities claim they know the location within the Saudi consulate where Jamal Khashoggi was killed and are believed to have leaked audio recordings of the attack. Saudi King Salman is said to have intervened and checked the powers of Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who many believe may have been behind the hit. Trump defended the Saudis and compared the accusations against the Saudi royals to the accusations against Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. He also emphasized that Saudi Arabia is an important ally and business partner in the Middle East. Apartment Patty, Key Fob Kelly. Those are the names given to Hillary Thornton, who tried to stop Louis Darian Tolles, a black man, from entering the apartment where he lives. The woman followed Darian Tolles to his fourth-floor apartment, threatening to call the police if he did not prove his residency to her. Even after entering with a key, the woman called the St. Louis Police Department to investigate. Darian recorded the entire confrontation and posted to Facebook, where it went viral. Tax cuts can't do it. A soaring economy can't do it. What can stop the U.S. deficit from soaring? The deficit is up 17% from just a year ago, bringing the national debt to $779 billion. Now the GOP is looking to entitlement reform to get the budget under control. Senator Mitch McConnell blames government entitlements such as Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security for the increase to the debt. Changes to tax policy and defense spending are initiatives that account for much of the recent increase to the national debt, and McConnell is proposing cuts to Medicare and Social Security programs that support millions to address the issue.
Man, what about Gerald Freeney and Chaka Khan?
Oh, yeah.
That's a great choice.
Oh, yeah. Incredible.
That's a great...
Chaka Khan. Yeah, okay. Anyway.
Are you going to the parade?
I don't know yet. Because, we do our movie marathon.
Right.
So sometimes we go. We do get tickets, and so either we'll go or we give them to our granddaughters and they go.
This is the first time, that I heard the Grand Marshal choice, and I was actually excited about the Grand Marshal choice and intrigued by why that choice was made versus Ken Burns and who I like. I do respect his work.
Yeah.
And Zamparelli and some of the other choices. They didn't really grab my attention as much. So this one, I may actually go down there. But which one of these stories, let me ask you this, which one grabbed you the most?
I have to say Khashoggi because that's, when we talk about what happened with Khashoggi, we're talking about an attack on the freedom of the press that reflects, I'm not saying that journalists are necessarily being murdered here, but there's no question that it reflects this attitude, this anti-press attitude that that we have here in this country. Maybe not to that extreme. And it was magnified when Trump goes to a rally knowing this situation and then laughs at and makes fun of that event when the reporter was body slammed by that congressional candidate who is now a congressperson.
Yeah. Well, this is, to back up to where you just left off, this is a direct attack on the First Amendment.
That's right.
When something like this happens and the U.S. does not act on it and we go, we need a couple of more days?
And the first thing that, of course, he said is, oh, well, he's not a U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
So humanity doesn't matter, I guess,
you're not a
unless
US
you're a U.S. citizen.
Nah, that's something that they have to take a stand on and they have to take action on. Eric Trump and his stupid statements, are we going to give up our entire relationship with Saudi Arabia because one journalist was murdered? Oh, man, we got to take some stances. That's a direct attack on everything that America is about, which is the First Amendment.
Right. And what we didn't have, of course, because it happened just before we came on the air, was the update where the Saudis have now basically said, yes, he was killed. Okay. But he was killed, listen to this one, he was killed in a fight. So I guess this hit squad of 15 people killed him in self-defense, because that's
he
the
was going to
only
just attack all 15.
That's the only explanation that I have, or however many the people were, and I mean it's so ridiculous. And you know what? It's going to work.
Of course.
And Trump is going to say, "Oh, well, you know,
because you already
he
see
was killed in a fight, and it was an accident.
He's not going to
no
do
one
anything
meant
about
for
it.
that to happen.
You already see he's not going to take action.
Or if he does take action, he won't take the hit for it. He'll turn it over to Congress.
But he himself will not
Congress
take action.
do something.
He will not take action on this.
I know.
All right.
I know. And I hope my shirt isn't driving you crazy.
Yeah, you know, we thought.
I just realized I'm looking at this on the monitor, and it might be a little much. But anyway.
It's not that much. 626-794-8585.
That's right. And, of course, Facebook. And
join us, please.
By the way, you know, if you ever miss a show, you can catch up. And you can do that by going to the Pasadena Media channel on YouTube. And you can also go to Facebook. The actual NewsRap page.
Yeah. Check us out.
Facebook. And check us out, because we've had some great shows. If you missed particularly last week when we had a great in-depth conversation with Professor Peter Dreyer.
And he's going to be back here
of
soon.
Occidental College. We believe he's going to be back here soon, yes. And we're going to be doing, by the way, in the interest
Get ready for this.
Of educating, we are going to be doing a 1-hour special 2 weeks from tonight. On November 2nd.
November 2nd.
Which is just before the election, which is the following
18
Tuesday.
18 days. That's
right now, it's 18 days. So when we do that, we'll have a 1-hour special just dedicated to the midterms. Nationally, locally, we'll talk propositions.
And last week there was a comment on Facebook that we didn't get to.
There was. That's right.
It was about the propositions, Proposition 6 and 9.
Proposition 6 and 9. One question I can't answer, which is why the Supreme Court took 9 off the ballot. I'm not even sure what it is, because it's off the ballot.
But we're going to get into both of these on November 2nd.
Well, probably not 9, because it's off the ballot.
But hopefully we'll be able to answer
that
question.
But definitely 6, because 6 is the repeal of the gas tax.
So, cool. So, Barry, talk to me. What's on your mind?
Well, what's on my mind, obviously, is what is happening to our country.
Okay.
I mean, I wake up every morning.
That's a good thing.
And I turn it so far.
Good.
Yeah. You know,
hopefully you're not wearing that shirt every day, but every morning
you know that joke, right?
I do.
The guy that falls off the 15-story building, and as he's dropping, they hear him say, "So far, so good."
Right.
So far, so good.
It's a sun stop at the bottom that gets you.
Right. So I wake up every morning to this garbage that is in the news. And I just keep asking myself, how is it possible that America, and I'm talking about the nation, I'm not just talking about a few people, and I'm not even talking about Democrats, aren't outraged? I can't understand how you're not outraged. Because frankly, if you say you're outraged and you don't go vote, you're not outraged.
Yeah. This is, and see, I'm with you. This is that moment where we find out who stands where.
Who we are.
If you don't vote, you co-sign on what's going on in the country.
You know who said it incredibly well? I was watching yesterday, because I'm like Trump, right? Except he watches Fox News, I watch MSNBC. But any free moment, I'm watching things to, possibly bring to the show, because I don't do rallies. So
you'd be good at a rally.
Well, I used to, but I don't do them anymore. So I was watching MSNBC on Nicole Wallace's show. By the way, Nicole Wallace was part of the McCain campaign. Nicole Wallace is a Republican and has a wonderful show called Deadline White House on MSNBC. And she had on as a guest Steve Schmidt, who is a very, very well-known campaign strategist and actually was also involved with McCain, was McCain's campaign strategist against Obama in 2008 when he picked Sarah Palin.
Oh, my God.
Or was that?
That was it.
2008. And he had some words to say to the
This is
American
amazing
voter,
right here.
and I think this is amazing. He said it so much better than I ever could. So I want to run the whole thing. It's about 2.5 minutes, but please watch it because
I like this.
You'll see
Right.
what I'm feeling.
This is
because
the point.
He's really speaking for both of us.
There's never been a genteel period of American politics, but what we're seeing here is something new, particularly from a president. He uses lying at mass rallies to scapegoat minority populations. He alleges conspiracies. He creates a sense of mass victimization and then positions himself as the avenger on behalf of the victims, defending them from the invading horde of migrants coming from the South, approaching the border. This is all BS of the first order. When you see Newt Gingrich up there, one of the most singularly pernicious forces in the history of American politics, a man who more than any other has wrecked the collegiality, the comedy, who began and begat this era of partisan warfare. When you see his smug smirk talking about Caravan and Kavanaugh, Caravan and Kavanaugh, the Caravan. These are vulnerable people fleeing some of the most violence ravaged places on earth. And why do they walk for 2,000 miles? Because of the power of an idea. That idea is this place.
This country.
America.
Yes.
A place where people are free and they are safe. And the idea that when a mother, through suffering, through abuse, through risk, and sometimes death all around them, when they reach the border and they see a uniform with an American flag, and they are no longer safe, but that baby is ripped away and put into an internment camp?
No, please.
This is a moral outrage that harkens to the worst excesses in the history of the country, to the separation of families at the slave auction blocks,
Yes.
to the separation of Native American families. It is a moral
and as Laura
outrage.
Bush said, the Japanese internment
And
camps.
this is the failure of the Democratic Party to address this as a small issue, not as a profound stain on our national honor, as a profoundly un-American policy, and to frame the question for the country in this vile age of Trumpism. What is it that we are? Who are we as a people?
Who are we as a people?
You know what? He nailed it. Everything he said was great. What I touched on, what hit me the most, the failure of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Because what he said is what Democrats should be saying.
Absolutely.
And Democrats aren't saying it. The guy who put Sarah Palin on the political map is saying that, and not Democrats. Think about that for a second.
That's right.
So what's wrong with the Democratic Party? That's my question for you.
What's wrong is what has always been wrong with the Democratic Party. It was interesting, Peter mentioned last week that I was going to be moderating a panel at the Pasadena Jewish Temple, and I did, and it was a wonderful turnout. We had about 200 people, which was fantastic for a morning panel like that. And we had Felicia Williams and Robbie Davis from the League of Women Voters, and we had the executive director of the Pat Brown Institute from Cal State LA, Raphael Sonnenschein. And he talked about the fact that Democrats, their persona, the way they want to be seen, is as thoughtful and calm and statesman-like.
Catching butterflies.
And we think that that's a counter to the anger, through the abrasiveness, the snarkiness of the Republican Party. And we've always done that. We do not want to, the expression has always been, we don't want to get into the mud with them. That's always been the expression. The problem with that, and I totally buy into that, by the way, I don't want to get into the mud, but on the other hand, we can't allow the country to be stolen from us the way it's been stolen when you see every single poll show that the policies that Democrats support are the policies that the American people want over and over, whether it relates to guns or reproduction or health care or anything. Those are the policies that people want. The Republicans are on the wrong side of history, but they keep winning. And there's only one reason for that, and that's a lack of political courage on the part of the Democrats to say, you know what? If we're just as strong, no, we don't have to call people names. We don't have to get in the mud that way. But if we're just as strong and we're just as straight, just as hit just as hard as the Republicans do, we can win. And we're always afraid of doing that. And if we're not afraid of doing it as a candidate, believe me, we hire people who are supposedly the experts when we run for office, who are totally afraid of doing that. And that's the Democratic theory. Whereas the Republican theory is, let the blood go onto the walls. Right. Let's have the battle.
Well, here's the issue. Here's what. Let me kind of bring this home real quick. If the fight is in the mud, you got to go get in the mud.
You got to get in the mud.
One person can't be on dry ground and one person in the mud.
And that's what Holder was saying. When Holder got criticized for violence, when he said, you got to kick him, when they fight you, you got to kick him, it was a metaphor, folks.
Yeah.
But that is what we have to do. Well, no, we're not talking about body slamming a reporter physically. No. That wasn't a metaphor.
No, that actually happened.
Person got hurt.
Right.
Someone got hurt. We're not talking about hurting people.
Well, in that clip we just showed, you saw that caravan heading to Mexico.
Absolutely.
After that caravan, some of those people are going to get to the southern border of the United States.
Right.
How many Democrats have said anything about the president saying we should shut our borders? Forcefully.
Forcefully, no.
None.
In a democratic way, yes, right? Oh, this is outrageous.
Right.
That's the democratic way. But, what an outrageous statement.
So the president's saying we should send troops to close the southern border. And the Democrats are not forcefully taking any position at all.
No, because they're afraid. They're afraid that they're going to lose if they take a position. And that goes back to Bill Clinton. It goes back to the entire theory that we have to be Republican light. And by saying that, what we're saying is we do not have confidence in the fact that this country is a progressive country.
Right.
And you know what? If it's not a progressive country, let's find out. Let's find out.
Yeah,
then we know, all right, we're beating our heads against a wall. But we're certainly not going to win if we try to be all things to all people. It's not going to happen.
Well, and as you said, I mean, even Barack Obama sweeps into office in 2008 with the blue wave and takes in Congress with him.
That's right.
He had the House and the Senate.
That's right.
And guess what? They were afraid to say, this is what we are doing, and we are standing behind the president's policies.
Right.
In other words, it became a lot of, it's our ball and we want to share it with you. Here, have some of my candy. You don't have a sandwich? Let me give you half of mine.
Yeah.
What happened 2 years later? Red wave, huge.
That's right.
And they've been there since.
That's right. And we're dealing with people like Mitch McConnell,
Yep.
who had a mission, and the mission was to keep Obama from being reelected.
Right.
He didn't succeed, thank goodness.
And now
but
we hear
he did have that mission.
We hear about now how the Democrats are obstructing. McConnell said, it is my mission to make sure he does not become a two-term president. And after health care passed, they said from now on, it's no to everything.
Right. And how many Democrats did you hear, even a Kamala Harris, who's supposed to be, really strong and really courageous, how many Democrats did you hear say, because they could have said, no way in hell we are going to vote for Brett Kavanaugh.
Right.
You blocked a legitimate Supreme Court nominee for hundreds of days for absolutely no legitimate reason.
Right.
We're not giving you anything.
Nobody said it. I mean, Trump's own words at the debate was delay, delay, delay.
That's right.
Nobody brings that up.
That's right. So now it's their war cry, Kavanaugh,
Right.
caravan, Kavanaugh. By the way, you do know what we're talking about, I hope, when we talk about the caravan, right?
It's not Kavanaugh running to the bar.
Right. No.
Looking for a couple
Yeah,
of
I know. It
Colemans.
sounded like the Kavanaugh caravan, which is, all
With
his
Squee and
party
the boys.
friends. I
Yeah.
don't know what that was. But what they're talking about is the issues are the fact that they got Brett Kavanaugh and the horrible things we did to him.
Yeah.
Yes.
The torture.
Yeah, the torture that we put him under, never mind Blasey Ford.
Right.
And the caravan, which is these 4,000 migrants who are coming up from Honduras.
4,000 people.
Coming from horrible conditions.
They made it to Mexico today.
And by the way, when they say illegal, they're not illegal. They're going to come to the border and they're going to seek asylum,
Right. Which is legal.
they have a legal right to do.
Exactly.
Now, the government can also say, we're not going to give you asylum. That's another story. But they have a legal right to it.
They're following the law to come to the border and ask for asylum.
Exactly. So we want to hear from you. We got
a Facebook comment.
Go.
We do have a Facebook comment. Can we see it up on the prompter?
Sure.
Great.
Through the magic of television.
Sorry.
Through the magic
I'm
of
not going to
TV.
pull it up that fast.
Okay, well, we'll keep talking until we see it.
Okay.
So what's going to happen? when these
But
people
by
get
the
there?
way, if you do want to call in the last few minutes, please do. The number is 626-794-8585. Looks like we might have someone on the phone. So let's find out. Do we have someone on the phone, or is that a misprint? And who
I'll
is
read it to you.
Huh?
I'll read it to you.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So, Stephen Bledsoe said we haven't had
Maybe you a little
progress.
bit louder.
Okay, sorry. Stephen Bledsoe said we haven't had progress in 476 years.
That's
Okay.
not true. That's nonsense.
Because-
I mean, why we haven't had progress in 476 years?
So what's the progress?
All right, so Stephen, you got to tell us why we haven't had progress.
So what happened in 476?
Social Security, Medicare, child labor laws, the end of slavery, the right to vote for African Americans, the right to vote for women. Come on, let's not exaggerate here.
Hang on.
He follows up his comment and says we still have 100,000 homeless in Los Angeles.
And we had 100,000 homeless 476 years ago. I don't know what the point is. And where did 476 years come from? 1492? No, it can't be. It's something in the 1600s.
Well,
I'm confused, Steve. I'm sorry, but I'm very
I think he
confused.
conflated two issues. I think he's talking about things getting worse, which I understand that argument.
Yeah.
But to say that they never got better from 1492,
Or whenever it was. 476 years.
yeah,
is a
until
long
things
time.
until things started going south again. That's a hard argument to make. I think that's a hard argument.
It's
to
a
make.
very hard
Well,
argument.
come on, I'm sitting here on TV.
That's right.
So things
You're
got
sitting
better.
here on TV.
I can walk into the station. Things
That's,
got better.
That's right. So, I mean, the thing is, are they better enough? No.
Yeah.
They aren't. And I'm a progressive, and that word means something to me. I want to see us constantly building on the good things that we have done, and I want to see them get better and better so that people have better lives. Because to me, the economy means nothing unless people have better lives.
Well,
I mean, I don't care if
I don't
Wall
think you
Street
should-
has a better life.
I
care if people have better
I
lives.
don't vote based on where the economy is. I never have, and I just won't go that way because no president has complete and total control over that.
Right.
Now we can play, oh, the stock market's great. I did that, but stock market runs on speculation. You know that. I know that.
Sure.
Anybody who's involved in the market knows that. Economies rise and fall when they rise and fall.
That's right.
That's just how it goes. So,
That's right. Well, we're going to move over to Facebook.
all right, and then let's
And-
talk a little bit about candidates and.
And let's do that, although we are going to have a special.
Of course, we won't get into the stuff on the special, but we'll just touch on
And
a little bit.
we'll have a special. And by the way, we're also on November 9th going to dedicate our show to 2020.
All right.
Because it's not too soon
No.
to talk about 2020. We haven't talked about Elizabeth Warren. Maybe we'll do that on the
That's
flip
what I mean.
side.
All right.
So we'll do that.
Facebook.
Be sure to see the NewsRap page on Facebook. See us on the Pasadena Media channel on YouTube. And stay with us because we're heading to Studio B.
It's like that thought just came out of the blue to you
I
all of a
know.
sudden.
I'm Barry Gordon.
And I'm Andre Coleman.
And this is NewsRap Live at 5.
Woo!